everyone, welcome to the channel Ina Talks. I'm happy to have you here. Happy 2025. We haven't seen each other for a while, but I have gathered my strength, gathered my energy, and I'm ready to tell you how I'm planning to improve the 2025 for myself. And I also want you to hopefully get a few tips from me and improve your year and make it the better one or even the best one so far for yourself. For some reason lately I've been feeling that every beginning of every other year is sort of the same, if you know what I mean, because before the year, or even when the year begins, people do the preliminary planning, they set goals. But when the year actually comes and you start doing it or you start looking at those goals, they no longer speak to you. You feel overwhelmed, and the pain of change in order to execute them is already arriving much faster than any kind of results. That's why I think it makes sense that people give up their New Year's resolutions so soon. Just a couple of days ago, I went to the gym on the first time this year. And I have never seen that room so full of people, so packed, so crowded. Some machines even had the queues forming out of people. And it was quite shocking because, again, that's not a very circulated place overall. But then I understood it was just exactly the first Sunday. Everyone has got themselves in order to start putting in the effort, starting showing up for themselves, etc., all of those things. And the very next few days I showed up again and the gym was almost empty. So it took them only this much. It took them one day in order to give up on that kind of journey so fast. I can definitely say that my tips for 2025 improvement and bettering it are definitely not revolutionary because, again, what can be revolutionary about getting things done? The first step that I would recommend you stick into is one step at a time. And by that, I mean not trying to stack up the new habits, the new activities all together. Since, for example, you decided to improve your eating habits, and then you think, well, since I've started improving my eating habits, I probably should meditate. I probably should take up some more advanced Pilates or any other physical activity all at once. That will make you really demotivated, in my understanding, and you will end up being overwhelmed and not so happy because, again, results are not going to appear that quickly because you're kind of dispersing yourself in different directions and you're just not going to have that much energy in order to cover all the fronts, 2024 was some kind of a test drive for this tip for me, because I clearly was able to see that I am unable to look in different directions at the same time. I just took 3 major aims and 5 minor ones throughout the whole year, not more than that. And that proved to be really efficient because I knew that I didn't have to flip backwards, I didn't have to jump over my own head. I already had things happening and I was just very consistent keeping those and not adding any others up. Another really valid tip that I could definitely speak about is give your goal a chance. And by a chance, I actually mean sufficient amount of time, focus, effort, and patience. I think I constantly talk about that, but I cannot underestimate how big of a value this notion, this idea actually holds. Because sometimes you start doing a new activity, for example, let's say you changed a job or you started a YouTube, and you think you're failing because you're not receiving the results, or even not even, for example, you are very far from any kind of results that are in the foreseeable future. And you actually think to give up because it's not worth your time, it's not worth your effort. But you haven't even given enough effort, focus, and time into it. You need to make sure that you lasted longer than your motivation in order to in order to make it happen. I think that the current trend of receiving the, maybe it's not the current trend anymore, the instant gratification sense in many of us actually taught us not to look into the thing any longer if it's not working immediately after we started doing it. But this plays a wrong kind of joke with us because we're not giving ourselves the chance to be flexible in order to find the new ways to approach the same kind of activity or craft once again. Because if you have tried some ways to make something work and they haven't worked, I just believe that you should be flexible enough in order to learn the other approaches, other methods, look into other sources which can tell you another type of information, etc., etc. Like to be on the path of the discovery. And I do know how sometimes painful it can be because you're discovering new and new things and they contradict each other sometimes even. And it's annoying, it's really annoying. But once you have pushed through that, I think that's already a bigger step on the path towards the succeeding. I have probably already told you that I'm a millennial, and millennials, as you know, grind themselves into death. They try to work as much as possible. The economy is failing us at all times, and we're trying to find the ways to actually prosper, thrive in any possible way, and this is quite difficult. But despite that, we were never taught to learn to enjoy things. I think that if you're not giving yourself a bit of joy every single day, doing something that really brings you peace and gives you some satisfaction, I'm not talking about the hobbies or the activities that are actually based on the material things. For example, I might assume you like shopping or something that involves spending money. I believe that dedicating some time during your day, even if you're super busy, we're talking about 5-10 minutes to the activity that actually brings you joy, I think it can fill your year with memories, because you create memories, you create the stamina, you create the energy, because when we're doing something that we really appreciate and love, unfortunately it's not always our jobs, we actually feel fulfilled. And this fulfillment is something that everyone is looking for. That's why I hope that you have those kind of things that you can stick to and be consistent with them for sure. I actually think both you and I are perfectly capable of making 2025 a year that is much better, much more prosperous, much more exciting than 2024. That's why keep your eyes on the prize, and we'll see each other very soon.